No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of Friday Night Smackdown for February the 3rd, 2023. Shout out to everybody watching this, whether it's live or on demand. I very much appreciate your viewership and support. We are coming off the Royal Rumble Premium Live event. Shout out to the early birds, Steve-O, Walter Cruz, Joey Perez, Jose Garza, Gomer Kyle, Matthew. Hamp Connell sent in a $2 super chat right off the bat. Says, today in history 2021, the XFL launches on NBC. I remember that with The Rock out there at the beginning. I actually tuned in. I'm not a football guy, but I did watch that XFL launch, and well, that was the last XFL game I ever watched. Anyways, on to SmackDown. We had Wade Barrett on commentary still. Where was Pat McAfee? I was hoping Pat would be back for this show, but he was not on. Wade Barrett still doing commentary for SmackDown. I like Wade Barrett, but I miss Pat McAfee. We had the Bloodline arrive minus Jey Uso. Roman Reigns was asked about it by Caleb Braxton, and he had no comment. Paul Heyman did say that he cannot confirm or deny Jey's status in the Bloodline. We had our first match of the evening, tag team title #1 contender match. We had Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus Imperium. Footage was shown from the Royal Rumble of Gunther's record-breaking performance in the Rumble. This match was entertaining, predictable but entertaining. We all knew going in that the good guys would win to face the Usos. And apparently that match will happen on next week's SmackDown, but there's a big question mark. Will Jey Uso actually show up next week? More on that in just a few moments. You had Gunther interfering during this match, and he actually got ejected from ringside by the referee. Imperium did get in some offense. Braun Strowman would tag out. They would work over Ricochet a little bit, but then Ricochet started to build up some momentum, and Strowman got a hot tag, hit the monster bomb to Ludwig Kaiser, and then Ricochet got on Strowman's shoulders and hit a swanton off the shoulders, scored the 1-2-3 victory. Like I said, entertaining match, predictable, but it was fun. I'm liking the Strowman Ricochet tag team. Caleb Jacobs sent in a $10.86 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it, Caleb. He says, I am beginning to really hate Roman. How dare he disrespect Caleb Braxton by ignoring her? The Bloodline will get theirs at WrestleMania. You live by the sword and you die by the sword. Roman Reigns did not die by Drew McIntyre's sword. Now, WrestleMania seems like the place where the Bloodline will finally go down. One would think we would get the happy endings at WrestleMania with the Bloodline going down, Usos losing the tag team titles, and Roman Reigns ultimately losing the unified WWE title. But maybe not. Nothing's a guarantee. Dr. Dakota Scorpio sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, pray for Sami Zayn in Montreal. He gonna get got. Yeah, unfortunately, I think that it's going to be a rough night for Sami Zayn in his hometown. The atmosphere is going to be off the chain, but I am smelling a Montreal screw job. We'll get to that here in just a few moments. Colin Andrew thinks that maybe Solo and Jimmy will defend the titles next week, and Jay will show up at Elimination Chamber. Now, people are wondering what's the status for the Usos in Canada. because the Usos typically do not show up in Canada due to the DUI arrests. Now, Jimmy's stuff is more recent. It's possible that Jay can get in. I'm not sure what the deal with that is. I know Jimmy, as of this past year, could not get into Canada, and that could affect whatever the finish is going to be at Elimination Chamber. I mean, one would think Jay will cost Sammy the match, but can he even get into Canada at this point? That's something that everybody's wondering about. Jimmy seems like he certainly cannot be there, but Jay, I know it's been a while since he was last in legal trouble. Caleb Jacobs sent in another $5 super chat. Thank you, Caleb. Says, Braun Strowman and Ricochet need to be the next tag team champions, or at least the next SmackDown tag team champions. I don't think that's going to happen, Caleb. I think they are going down to whatever two people they're going up against next week, whether it's the actual tag team champions or if Solo Sikoa substitutes. I suspect the Usos will stay tag team champions until WrestleMania. And I disagree on this. Right now, the heat's on Sammy, but obviously in Montreal, you can shift that heat over to the Usos and set up the tag team match. Remember, this storyline has been largely about Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, the friendship between them being torn apart by the Bloodline affiliation. That's been a big part of this story for 6 months now. Right now, the heat is on Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn, and that's why they're doing the match at Elimination Chamber. And to me, that's what makes sense. Like I said, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens winning the tag team titles at WrestleMania is huge. And I think they should put it in the main event of night one. Tag team titles, I think it could possibly be the greatest tag team match of all time. With those four guys in a main event spot at WrestleMania, it will be magical. It will be a really big deal. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens ending the run of the Usos, best friends winning the tag team titles. Like, that will be one of the all-time great feel-good moments in WWE history. So I absolutely do not think that that's beneath Sami Zayn. Like, for him to win the tag titles with his best friend, this is a guy that has been with Kevin Owens going back 20 years. And I would watch these guys in PWG back in 2005, 2006. Their history to be at WrestleMania winning the titles, I mean, it doesn't get much bigger than that. Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, it's been about the Usos as much as KO and Sammy. Yes, and the whole relationship between Sami Zayn and Jey Uso as well. It's only recently that things really started to get heated between Roman and Sami Zayn, which is why WWE would be foolish to not do this match, but they are in fact doing it. More on that here in a few moments. Let's get back to SmackDown. We had footage shown of Rhea Ripley winning the Royal Rumble. Charlotte was interviewed backstage, and she was confronted by Sonya Deville. Sonya said that the only reason she showed up in Hicksville, Greenville, South Carolina, was to win the SmackDown Women's Championship, and then she'll go on to WrestleMania. Then we had footage, Clash at the Coliseum hype. I guess it's a NASCAR event, and to promote it, they had Rey Mysterio with the New Day, but then Dominic and Judgment Day crashed the party and issued a challenge. Not in the ring, but a race. So we actually had a race between Dominic and Rey Mysterio, and you had these guys in helmets driving in the laps, and we're supposed to think it's Rey and Dominic driving the cars. It was quite funny. I got a laugh out of this. It was goofy. but it was entertaining, I suppose. A bit over the top, for sure. Ray won the race, and things got a bit heated afterwards. So yeah, this was something. And yeah, I was at several of those Reseda PWG shows back in the day, and I even was at the Jewish Community Center in Hollywood before that, before they started running Reseda on a regular basis. That's how far back I go with PWG. We had Charlotte versus Sonya Deville for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Segment was fine, match was fine, but I did not care about this match because I never once thought for a second that Sonya Deville was winning this match. I mean, they did a ton of near falls. None of them I cared about whatsoever, and that's the problem. When I cannot suspend disbelief in regards to the finish, I'm just checked out mentally. To me, this was just filler. So as solid as they were in the ring, just did not care about it. And of course, Sonya tried to cheat. That did not work out too well for her. And then Charlotte applied the figure eight, got the win. No surprise. Caleb Jacobs sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Caleb. Appreciate it. Says, Sammy and KO should dethrone the Usos at WrestleMania. 100% agree with you, Caleb. That is the happy, feel-good moment that I think we've been all waiting for. To me, that's the ultimate payout for this storyline, and I think it'll be great. I really do. People are saying, well, Sami Zayn should be the WWE champion, but at the end of the day, I think this is the way to go, and I think people will be satisfied with the final product if that's what we get. Hamp Connell sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Hamp. Appreciate it. Says, this reminded me of when WCW used to recap WCW Motorsports on Nitro every week. Remember when they had an NWO car, a NASCAR NWO painted design on it? I remember they actually brought that out on an episode of Nitro. So they really went hard with the NASCAR cross promotion back in the day. I think Kyle Petty even showed up on Nitro and was an honorary member of the NWO. Jose Garza, Wyatt actually was on the show very briefly. They did show a recap of the Pitch Black match, and then we saw Bray Wyatt sitting in his rocking chair, and then we got a jump scare from Uncle Howdy. Uncle Howdy just popped into the frame, and then we cut to a commercial. I mean, if you blinked, you pretty much missed it. It was a very short segment. It was about 5 to 10 seconds after the video package. So, yeah, they probably have no idea what to do with Bray Wyatt right now. I mean, where does he go from here? I'm thinking Bray Wyatt versus Damian Priest at WrestleMania. Just thinking of potential opponents. There's really nobody on SmackDown, and Damian Priest has the whole supernatural-like presence, and he's with Judgment Day. He's a heel. I think they should go with that for WrestleMania and just hopefully do a straight-up match, but they'll probably do like a Cinnamon Toast Crunch sponsored match, and your opponent has to be thrown into a giant bowl of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I mean, at this point, I'm not expecting too much. My expectations are very low at this point. And yet, right now, Damian Priest has no clear direction for WrestleMania. And you can do a Raw versus SmackDown match at WrestleMania, Damian Priest versus Bray Wyatt. Karrion Kross has been mentioned in the chat room, but Karrion Kross, his stock has also plummeted in recent weeks as far as I'm concerned. LA Knight's not hurt. He just lost, and, that was his little run. Don't see where he goes at this point, but maybe he resurfaces after WrestleMania. Could be Money in the Bank winner. Like, LA Knight's too good to not do anything with. So I'm hopeful that after WrestleMania. I'm not expecting him to get a big push right now, but maybe after WrestleMania, LA Knight will resurface and get a good run. We had a recap of Cody Rhodes winning the Royal Rumble. And then we had a backstage segment with the Bloodline. Roman Reigns wanted to know where Jey Uso was. He ordered Solo and Jimmy to go find Jey. Jimmy had said that Jey was not answering his phone calls, was not talking to him whatsoever. And Paul Heyman tried to call, got a voicemail. Roman Reigns was very unhappy about all this. You had the Brawling Brutes versus the Viking Raiders. The Brawling Brutes were looking to get revenge on behalf of the Banger Bros, Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. Pretty good match here. Brutes got in some offense, but you had some interference from Sarah Logan. She was getting in Butch's face, and Butch did manage to get a hot tag, and Ridge Holland was showing off some power. He actually hit an Alabama slam on Ivar, which the crowd really thought was impressive. They popped big for that one. But then Ridge got taken out. Ivar hit him with a spin kick outside the ring, and then he got back in the ring. Double power bomb to Butch. 1, 2, 3. Viking Raiders win. And then after the match, as they were leaving, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus showed up. Fight broke out, and the Banger Bros got the upper hand. Filler program. McIntyre and Sheamus will probably beat them at Elimination Chamber, and then we'll see what happens with Gunther. A lot of buzz about maybe a triple threat match at WrestleMania. Gunther did eliminate both of them at the Royal Rumble, so we'll see what happens. I would love a triple threat with those guys. I think that would be a great match for WrestleMania. I say they should do it. And then we had a 4-way women's match. Shotzi versus Natalya versus Shayna Baszler versus who's the fourth one? Oh, Zelina Vega. You know she ain't winning this. You had Shotzi being the only one to get an entrance. I guess Natalya got like a partial entrance. Raquel and Liv Morgan, they've already qualified for Elimination Chamber. So they were watching from the back. Caleb Jacobs sent in $5. Thank you, Caleb. Says the next Bray Wyatt match will be brought to you by K Jewelers. K Jewelers already gets enough advertising time on these shows. Do they really need to sponsor a WWE match? Like, everybody knows about K Jewelers that watches WWE programming already. I guess you could drive people even more nuts. Like, if they ever do another wedding on WWE television, then I'm sure they will, because it's a staple in WWE history. The next wedding should be sponsored by K Jewelers. Like if it's Karrion Kross and Scarlett getting married on TV, obviously they could do a storyline wedding. You could sponsor it by K Jewelers or something. Somebody gets married, K Jewelers sponsors it. You get the logo there, all that good stuff. Anyways, fatal 4-way match. I mean, none of them are winning the chamber, so that's why I guess Shayna, but I figured Shayna was probably not winning this if she's teaming up with Ronda Rousey at the Elimination Chamber, or WrestleMania, I should say, teaming up with Ronda to go for the tag team titles. Plus, I think the outcome of this actually did make sense. So, anyways, it was a decent match. Shayna was pretty dominant. She got the clutch in on Zelina Vega, but then Natalya came in and Natalya got the clutch applied to her, but she was able to use her momentum. She sent Shayna to the outside of the ring, and then Natalya took advantage of the situation, put the sharpshooter on Vega. Vega, of course, tapped out. Nobody's surprised about this. But it makes sense because Natalya is Canadian. You know, she'll get the big pop in Canada. So it is what it is. Honestly, I think Asuka's winning. Asuka's really the only one to me that makes sense to win that chamber match and go on to WrestleMania. Some people are saying Liv Morgan, but I think her push has come and gone. Asuka's got the new look, well, the new old look. She's got the new music. It has to be Asuka, right? With that pop she got at the Rumble, Asuka's the only one that makes sense for that chamber match. So did not really care about this qualifier. I don't care about the qualifier on Monday. Whoever wins it is not winning the chamber match. I mean, Liv is clearly the second place prediction, but a distant second place prediction as far as I'm concerned. Gomer Kyle sent in a very generous $20 super chat. Thank you for that. And again, thank you to Caleb for his super chats, which have added up. So I very much appreciate it. Gomer Kyle says, with Sami Zayn so hot right now, do they let the women main event night one change it to the Usos versus Sami Zayn and KO? Thanks for the content. 100% it should be the Usos versus KO and Sami Zayn. Charlotte and Rhea Ripley, I don't care what Ric Flair says. That match cannot follow the Usos and Sami Zayn versus the Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Nothing can really follow that. Like, those guys go out there at WrestleMania with all the buildup and the work rate in that match. Like, those guys are gonna put on the match of the night. Like, I'm almost 100% confident of that. With those four guys, they're gonna put on an all-time classic. Rhea Ripley and Charlotte will be a very good match, but they won't touch it. Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley, you could argue that should go on first. The only match, like work rate wise, that I think could possibly match it is Gunther versus Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre. But I think that should open night 2 of WrestleMania. I would say Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, put that on first, and then open up with the IC title match on night 2 to start off the show hot. Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat. Why do you do this, Walter? He says, Bray Wyatt's next match, a little be like sheesh. Steel cage match sponsored by Pizza Hut. Oh my God. These sponsored matches are going to drive me crazy. I mean, people are suggesting Cage Jewelers match, a Pizza Hut match. We're probably going to have a Cinnamon Toast Crunch match. I mean, this is getting a little bit out of line, don't you think? Just a teeny tiny bit with these sponsored matches. Enough, guys. No more suggestions, because somebody from WWE, you never know, might be watching this and they might have an idea. They'll be like, hey, why don't we do this? You never know. So stop. Knock it off. You guys are going to drive me crazy. So anyways, back to SmackDown. Roman Reigns told Jimmy and Solo to go to the bus, eat some food, have some sushi. He's going to the ring to handle some business. Now, every time he says that, go to the back or do not come to the ring, well, that's the neon sign for, well, they're going to show up anyways. So Roman Reigns comes out for the main event segment. And, of course, crowd was chanting Sami Zayn. Reigns said that Cody Rhodes deserves his attention, but the people are forcing him to talk about the past. He talked about Survivor Series and how he saw greed in Sami Zayn's eyes, just like everybody else, people looking for opportunities from the tribal chief. And Reigns said that Sami Zayn used him. He was talking, and then all of a sudden, literally out of nowhere, Sami Zayn runs in wearing a hoodie, jumped Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns started to fight back. Reigns called for a chair. Paul Heyman gave him the chair. And then Sami Zayn with a spear out of nowhere to Roman Reigns, getting a huge pop. Crowd absolutely loved this. Zayn hitting Reigns with his own move. Zayn grabbed the chair, swung it at Reigns, but Reigns managed to escape the ring. And then Zayn got on the mic and said that he never wanted anything from Roman Reigns until now. He wants the unified WWE Universal Championship. But then Jimmy and Solo, surprise, surprise, attack Zayn from behind. Solo hits the Samoan spike. They wrap the chair around Sami's neck, and they were going to finish him off. But then Roman Reigns stops them. Roman Reigns gets in Sami's face. The crowd is chanting, "We want Jay," by the way. Man, if Jay does show up, I hope that there's not a problem with Jay getting into Canada, because Jay Uso coming out there, you think he's going to help Sami Zayn, and then he betrays Zayn. They might riot in that building, but it's going to be unprecedented heel heat. Like, imagine that. Jay Uso comes out there. You think he's going to help Sami. He betrays Sami. Man, ooh, that's gonna hit the mark, man. The heat that those guys will likely get, it's gonna be off the wall. Like, I could see fans like actually littering the ring. Like, they get so pissed off. Like, it's gonna be the new Montreal screw job. It's gonna be crazy. But yeah, fans going to that show, and it's sold out pretty much. Ooh, don't expect a happy ending. I mean, I suppose Kevin Owens could make his return at the very end and make the save for Sami after he's already lost. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a tough night for the good guys. I'll just put it that way. I mean, you never know. Sami Zayn could win the title. Stranger things have happened, but I am not expecting it at this point. Who knows though? We got a couple of weeks left until the Chamber. Maybe they make it for the WWE title. You never know. You never know. But anyways, crowd was chanting, "We want Jay," and Reigns was just irate. He was yelling, "You broke up my bloodline." And he said he's going to give Zayn what he wants. Zayn will get the match in Montreal because he wants to break Zayn. Just like Zayn broke up the bloodline, he wants to break Zayn in Montreal in front of Sami Zayn's family and friends. Man, I am so pumped for this match. Let me get to these super chats here. Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat. He said, "Ending to the Chamber, Sami Zayn loses, Bloodline beats him up, and KO's music hits, saves him. The pop in Canada will be deafening. Might have to turn the TV down." Yeah, that's what I feel like is going to happen. I mean, KO may or may not show up, and we can debate that. Like, should they hold off on that? But because you would think that Sami Zayn would try to help Zayn, or Kevin Owens would try to help Sami Zayn win the title rather than show up after he's already lost and been screwed over. But we'll see what they do. I mean, something along those lines seems like a logical bet. Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, "Can't wait for Sami's side of the story." Well, we should have that next week, I would think. Sami Zayn will say something, and we'll get some kind of promo from him about Roman Reigns. Should be really good. Looking forward to it. Hamp Connell sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Hamp. Says, "Just my opinion, but that match should be a no holds barred and just let them beat the hell out of each other for the WWE title." Well, it could end up being that way. I mean, Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels, they fought all over the place. Yeah, I'm expecting some kind of screw job though. But yeah, if they do like a no DQ match, that could certainly open the door for the interference and all the shenanigans. I mean, I definitely expect at the least maybe a ref bump or something like that. And Michael Jackson said, just like Michael Jackson, it's Roman Reigns' Thriller. Well, much like Michael Jackson was the king of pop, Roman Reigns is the king of heat at this point. Sami Zayn is on his way to being the king of pop in WWE. That pop at the Royal Rumble for the chair shot was up there among the great pops. And Montreal, I think on that night, Sami Zayn is going to be the king of pop in professional wrestling. But yeah, this is going to be a hell of a show coming up, Elimination Chamber. So overall thoughts on SmackDown. Ending was great. The ending, again, they're nailing it every week with the Bloodline storyline. Like, this was another hit. The rest of the show was okay. I would give the rest of the show, I might even go as low as a C+ for the rest of the show, but the main event was an A+ as far as I'm concerned. Excellent buildup. Love the spear to Roman Reigns, and then Roman with the trash talking, saying he's gonna break Zayn in front of his family. Like, all that was fantastic buildup for Elimination Chamber. You got it set up. You only got a few weeks to build it up, so they had to hit it hard, and I think they did. So I'm giving the show a B. Solid B. I agree with Matthew's take on it. The main event was excellent. The rest of the show was okay, but the stuff that was great, they really nailed it. And I'm gonna give SmackDown the win between the three shows just because of the last segment with the Bloodline. Continues to be the best thing in wrestling, and this is what's really piquing my interest in WrestleMania. And you look at the attendance, WWE is on fire right now. Their live attendance is up. Like, you look at this show this week, the arena was full. I mean, we've been seeing attendance down for both WWE and AEW, like in 2022, and up until the later part of the year, WWE was struggling a little bit. They're starting to pack these arenas again. And I credit it to the Bloodline storyline. I think that's drawing people in. And they're breaking records. Royal Rumble with the viewership. Elimination Chamber is sold out. WrestleMania, over 100,000 tickets were sold without one match being announced. Like, they're on a roll right now. Live attendance is strong, and merchandise is strong. Like, across the board, WWE business is on fire. So yeah, they're doing something right here for sure, and we'll see if they can end it on a high note at WrestleMania. That's what I'm hoping, because over the years, I feel like WWE starts off really strong with storylines. They can start the story off strong, but I feel like a lot of times it falls flat at the end. And I'm hoping that's not the case. My call, if it was me, like I said, night one, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens beat the Usos for the tag team titles in the main event of night one, final match of the night. And then night two, Cody Rhodes beats Roman Reigns. I think you have to give the fans the happy ending. And then where does the Bloodline go after that? Well, that could be a whole new chapter, a whole new book. But as far as this story goes, with the Bloodline's complete dominance, I mean, think of Starrcade in '97, Sting, all of that buildup. And ultimately, Sting was supposed to win, but they kind of botched it. I mean, I shouldn't say kind of, they did. So I'm hopeful that this will correct what should have been WCW's most memorable, triumphant moment in their history. WrestleMania, they get it right here. And after all this hype, all this buildup, the good guys win. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens get that victory. Cody gets that victory. And that's how you end WrestleMania. You do the draft after WrestleMania, and you set up some new storylines and start some new stories. Building Nexus said with a $2 super chat, how mad is Roman going to be when the Usos lose? Oh, yeah. And you know what? That can be his excuse. Like, that puts the extra pressure on him. And he can even blame the Usos for his loss at WrestleMania, saying that they started the downfall and they let him down and he mentally wasn't in the right place. I mean, maybe we will see Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns again. I hope they don't do like a wolf pack storyline, like two versions of the bloodline. They might, though. Who knows with that? We'll have to wait and see. But anyways, guys, thank you all for joining me tonight. I hope you enjoyed the live stream. If you did, give this video a thumbs up on YouTube. Please spread the word. Tell a friend. YouTube.com/AaronRift, no DQ. And stay tuned to NoDQ.com. I will be doing live results coverage of NXT Vengeance Day. And then after the show, I will be back here on the YouTube channel to give you my thoughts. Take care, everybody. Enjoy NXT Vengeance Day if you're watching it. Have a great weekend, everybody. And remember, say yes to NoDQ.com. And I will see you all next time.